Hello and welcome to episode 9.
Is it 9?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah,
We made it to 9.
I remember last week we were like, oh my God, 8. We're at 8. Holy shit.
9 is significant.
9 is big.
9 is a magic number.
It's one of the best numbers. It's the number of perseverance.
Any number you multiply by 9, if you add those two numbers, it's 9. So like 9 times 9 is 81. 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 times 8 is 72. 7 plus 2 is 9. So it always becomes 9.
Right. I like that.
So I don't really know what you're going to do with that, but
it's a magical number.
That's magic.
So want to just jump right in to what I was talking about before?
Yeah. What do you got?
So
lay it on me.
Yeah.
Lay it on.
So I was just listening to a teacher, Mooji.
Big Mooj.
Yeah, Big Mooj. And he was saying how it's more or less the vibration of what the teacher is saying as opposed to the actual content of what they're saying. So you could have a teacher talk to you for, give a 2-hour lecture, and you might feel good after. But an even more evolved teacher could say one word to you and you will absorb maybe even more sort of whatever you want to call it, knowledge, like auspiciousness, whatever you want to call it, from just, one word, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me think of how people would say all you have to do is look into the guru's eyes and you'll be awakened.
There you go. Yeah. So it's more about like how rooted somebody is in presence than all the information that they might know, which I feel like isn't really it's not obvious. A lot of us are, when we get on the spiritual path, where like, I got to get all the information, as opposed to like, I have to sit and become rooted in presence. So.
Yeah, all of the information. That's such an interesting thing. And what is that going to do for you? Give you some type of confidence that you didn't have before? Is it going to, help your ego so you can tell other people how much you know? That's usually what happens.
Yeah.
Usually, vibration, intention, I look at those things as something similar in a way, like your core intention is going to give off a certain frequency, right?
Yeah.
In Chinese, they call that your li. Similar to intention.
That's Lee?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it's Li.
Okay.
I'm not 100%. But I can look it up. We do have the internet.
True.
So
your li.
The li is it's not an intention that you decide upon. It is the intention that you incarnated here with. And most people who study acupuncture or Chinese medicine, they're not going to agree with me on that. But that's why I have my own podcast.
Damn right. So the intention before even this life, almost like the intention for coming to this life, almost.
Well, it's more like the intent. In Chinese, the li. Scholarly articles for li and intention. I mean, there's nothing coming up right away, so we'll just pretend that it's spelled Li. So it's your life's purpose. It's what your incarnation, it's what you intended to do in this current incarnation. So you, pre-incarnation, you decided, I'm going to incarnate so I could be a acupuncturist, right? So that would be my li. So people will gravitate towards me for acupuncture naturally because it's my purpose.
Yeah.
Where if my purpose was actually banking, then I wouldn't have acupuncture. I wouldn't have success in acupuncture. And somehow I would be guided to banking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the amount of times that people brush up against, they're doing something and it's just not working out, and it's like, it's almost like because it's not working out, you focus on it, like you try harder, and it's actually maybe the universe kind of guiding you in a different direction. That's hard to pick up on a lot of the time, you know. Um, but once you find it, it's like a very relieving thing. I'm sure you kind of could rest in the relief of knowing that you found something like that you could, that you really have a passion for.
Yeah, I mean, still has its trials and tribulations in the mind where we all question our intention, we all question our purpose
Yeah.
because we live in an age of just chaos and information, and we all have insecurities. When we may have incarnated here without any insecurities, but when we live here, we do what the natives do. So
Mm-hmm.
we take on 3D habits and behaviors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 3D.
3D, this is 3D that we're living in, the third dimension.
So, would you say a goal of living is to master sort of your, I guess, desires, your impulses of like being in the 3D realm? Would you say it's to master?
It's to experience all things desired.
Mm,
That's the purpose of 3D,
right.
because your desire is something that doesn't necessarily come from you.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that comes through you. So you have this desire, and until you fulfill that desire, then you'll have this yearning.
Mm,
And the yearning is what motivates us. So without this yearning, we have no motivation. And then we live somebody else's purpose,
mm,
or we not like we live their purpose, but they come up with a purpose for us, and then we live that purpose like a slave.
right. So then, if we came here to experience all things desired, and we end up sort of being a slave, maybe without consciously being totally aware of it, would that have been our desire to be like?
Yeah, I mean, some people have the distortion of control or being controlled. So that's
Yeah.
all third chakra, solar plexus distortions. So um, some people enjoy someone controlling them.
Right.
Some people want to be the one controlling others, and that it's just a solar plexus chakra distortion. So people could definitely get stuck
Mm,
in that dynamic of controlling and then wanting to be controlled because of issues around self value, issues around identity, issues around fear.
mm,
Uh, Fear of losing someone may cause you to control them.
mm.
So that's just a solar plexus distortion. So more ego or egocentric compared to heart and heart centered, if you will.
So would you say that somebody who is trying to sort of master basically their self, really just master desire, master their impulses, things like that, like, would you say that's like wrong? It doesn't, it kind of goes against nature because we're here to like live out these desires? Like, would you like say the monastic route? Like, would you say that's like incorrect? Like, would you say that's just not conductive, like conducive?
I mean, like I have my own views on renunciation and
Right.
becoming a monk, and I would never want to criticize someone who chooses that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's most likely their karma that has led them to live a life of renunciation.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in a previous life they had tremendous wealth and they wanted to experience life without any attachment.
Mm. Right. So that in and of itself is actually a desire to not want any desires.
Yeah, that's
To
still a desire.
right. Wow. That's, yeah.
Yeah,
It all goes
I have
full
a
circle.
desire for non-attachment. I
Yeah.
have a desire for renunciation,
Mm-hmm.
and that's still a desire. You're never going to be free of desires.
Right.
If you don't desire life, then you'll desire death. You'll desire something.
A state of not being. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to have no desire is, I don't know. I think that desire keeps us here.
Mm.
If you want to die and you're ready to go, having no desires would probably be beneficial.
Mm.
I've already exhausted all of my desires and I'm ready for what's next.
Right.
But, most people have more desires than they even know.
Right.
And they don't know how to fulfill those desires. So they suffer deeply,
Mm.
having desires that may never be fulfilled.
Yeah. So I just had something else. As far as like, I've been thinking a lot about like longing for, really it's just like when I think of death, I think of a state of kind of like no sensory, basically. There's no senses involved, you know? And I was just thinking how that's not really accurate. Like, I don't think anybody who longs for death, I feel like we don't know even really what it is,
Yeah,
you know?
well, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of documented
Mm-hmm.
near-death experiences, and
Right.
there is some type of realm that they go into.
Right.
Just like when we go into a dream,
Mm-hmm.
do we know where we go when we're dreaming? Nobody knows. Same thing with death. We go into this state
Mm-hmm.
where we're not necessarily in this dimension anymore. We're in the astral,
Mm-hmm.
and the body is no longer a physical body.
Yeah.
That's you're in a non-physical realm.
Right.
Can you sense things? I don't really know, but I'm assuming you can.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming you can sense things. I think that you have a sense of empathy in the afterlife because spirits tend to visit the people they love, and
Mm.
connect with them sometimes if someone is really suffering.
Mm.
We call upon deities and ascended masters and things like that, so they must sense something. Even hearing the call is still a sense.
Yeah. So, okay. So,
I don't think it looks anything like our experience of being here in the body is like no other experience.
oh, yeah. Yeah, because like we can't recall. I'm sure there's a part of me somewhere that could recall some sort of like memory after life or before life, but right now I can't come up with a memory from before life or after life like I can come up with the memory of like yesterday. Like I don't have any recollection of that right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that very, very few people have any memory of any pre-incarnative process.
Yeah.
Maybe a high-level soul who achieved a lot of self-mastery over many lifetimes,
Yeah.
and the veil for them is thinner, where our veil is much thicker. There is a veil of consciousness
Yeah.
that we are born with.
Yeah. I feel like music is a good it's almost for me at least like beyond life in a way, like some certain songs throughout my life and things, it's almost like they have echoes of different timelines, different realities, things like that, and you could just like really, that's the really magic thing about music.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
The vibration. So I guess you could say the same thing that I was talking about with the master being rooted in being, giving you a sentence that's more powerful than like a whole day-long lecture. You could kind of say that about music too. Like you could listen to a song that will almost give you like this vibratory energy that's more powerful than maybe a whole lifetime of experience, depending on I guess what it is. Some people might say that about kirtan. Some people might say that about rock and roll. It's
Yeah.
it's definitely interesting to think about.
I think if you're just tuned into wanting that experience, I don't think it matters as much as, oh, it's I'm listening to heavy metal, I'm listening to hip hop, I'm listening to bhakti music.
Mm-hmm.
All of these genres of music, they give me a different feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But some people, they close themselves off to different types of music. You know, I'm never going to listen to country music.
Sure.
That's a big thing, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting, like a certain frequency that they can't. I mean, it's hypnosis. They've convinced themselves that they can't enjoy it. Like preferences are all hypnosis.
Mm.
It's all dreaming, really.
Preferences. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the simulation, like it's like a program that's just in there, your preference, that gets kind of
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, you know, if you
interchangeable, basically. Yeah.
yeah, I mean it is like a program that you're running
Yeah.
based off of some identity that you think you have.
Right.
I only listen to heavy metal,
Sure.
which I don't. You know,
I used to be like that.
Yeah, I only listen to metal. I had a friend like that.
Yeah.
And that was his whole identity was he was a metal head.
Yeah, it's fun. I liked that era of my life. Actually, it had its perks.
Yeah, it's intense music. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's good for people who have a lot of suppressed anger.
Sure.
And want to let it out. You know.
One thing that I think about a lot with music is what I believe is you have the guitar and you're playing chords, and anything that anybody says over them, any lyrics, anything like that, is hijacking music. Like I believe even like mantra and things like that. I believe that the music in and of itself is the purest essence, and if you just don't do anything to it and just leave it as an instrumental, that is actually what music is supposed to be. And singing over it and stuff like that, I'm not saying it's bad, but it is, no matter what, in my opinion, ego. Any type of like lyrics and things like that over music, and this is just my opinion, is ego. So like a lot of the time, I'm a lifelong musician. I've been playing guitar and played a lot of things, but guitar is the one that I really stuck with. And anytime that I'm like, I almost can't sing over like a guitar anymore, because I just hear the chords and I'm like, they're so beautiful. If I'm to say anything right now, I'm just hijacking music and I'm going to use it to implant my story into it. Mm-hmm. Like, do you ever feel like that?
I feel kind of like the opposite. Like,
okay.
I feel like whatever it is that I'm writing or singing about is more important, and then the music kind of backs it up. So I would say
you're like on the total opposite side of the spectrum.
Yeah, like I'll tune that's why I tune my guitar to my voice.
Right.
And I tend to, I mean, yeah, the process of writing music is interesting, you know.
Yeah.
I don't like write music and then I don't like play music and then write words to go with the music. Mm-hmm. I have an idea of what the song is going to be about, and I try to figure out the chords that would sound like that. Like,
yeah, that's the thing, is what you just said. Like, I try to figure out what the song is going to be about. Like, what if the song just was, and that's just playing guitar and not saying anything over it? That's like letting the music just be, as opposed to like, this has to be about something. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like...
I mean, I don't really write things about a specific thing either, though. It's
right.
more like obscurity is, but...
sure, yeah.
Yeah, or, most of the music I write now is just mantra music, so I don't have to really write anything.
Right.
But to have a melody that's unique, I don't know. It's a weird. It's almost like an instant coming together of words and guitar chords and some rhythm.
Yeah, yeah. I love your songs. Your kirtan songs and your other songs are great.
Yeah, and I don't know how they just come about.
Right. They just flowed.
They just flowed through me.
Right.
Which is cool. I think ego is taking responsibility for your songs as if there wasn't some other divine energy working through you, you know, for that song to come through you. I prefer to look at music that way. Like, this is just coming through me. Um, and then there's less of an ego in that. You know, a lot of, obviously, like a lot of rock stars or rappers. I mean, I think rap
There's
has
more ego in certain things,
rap has
different
probably
levels.
the most ego,
Probably,
I think, because
yeah.
it's all about like bragging about being the best.
Like,
I'm the best rapper.
Yeah, it, like, is ego, pretty much.
Yeah.
It is literally like the embodiment of like ego.
Yeah, you don't hear people saying like, "I'm the best jazz musician."
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because even like now doing the kirtan, I'm noticing more when I just am, I'm leading a kirtan of 5 people. It's, I'm glad that it's not that many people. I don't want that big of an audience, like just first starting it. But when I first started to play the chords, I'm like, I wish I could just play these chords. I don't even want to be like saying things over these. Like, they're so pretty, and I just, that's kind of what I've been into for the past probably like year. I really just like instrumentals. Don't get me wrong, I listen to every different genre of music, but when I personally play, I kind of just like vibing with the chords and the strings, the piano keys, whatever it may be. Like, I just feel like that speaks to me more than words a lot of the time. But that's just a little tangent.
I mean, I've definitely been doing a lot more sound healing.
Yeah.
I had a similar thought with that. I was like, oh, this is a totally different essence of music.
There you go.
I've been playing the wind gong a lot.
That's cool.
That's actually very interesting because it makes such strange sounds, but if you're very calculating with it, you could make something that makes musical sense.
Right. It's expressive. It's dynamic.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been cool, and the singing bowls and different chimes and different kinds of instruments, xylophone type instruments.
Yeah.
So the sound healing is very, very interesting.
Yeah. Well, sound is just a really powerful vibration. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Like, it is beyond like 3D, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's
I've
beyond.
been using the gong to induce the hypnotic state when I do hypnotherapy sessions.
Cool.
So I'll have the patient sit here, and about 2 feet away, I'll start playing the gong, and I'll start doing the induction.
Cool.
And it's actually very powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. At first, I was using acupuncture, and the gong seems to be, I think, even more effective.
It's cool.
To change the person's state. I don't think I've ever experienced anything as powerful as a gong when it comes to state change.
Wow.
Like a good gong could give somebody instant relaxation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you say the same thing of like a really powerful, maybe collective Om?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Depends.
Yeah, I guess it depends. Yeah. Sometimes when I hear an Om and it's like very, you have the different harmonied Om where it's like a few different that kind of click perfectly. It's so pretty.
Yeah, I mean, Oms are nice.
Literally the sound of the universe. They're nice.
Yeah. I mean, who knows if people are doing it correctly,
Sure. I mean, it's sort of a passed down thing. I mean,
right.
And also pretty much most of prayer like starts with an Om or ends with one in Hinduism.
Yeah. Oh.
It's like Amen. Well, actually, Om and Amen are the same thing, I think.
I mean, Adonai I don't really know Amen, but Adonai would be the name of God.
Well, I never even heard that one. It's trippy.
Yeah. So that's something that you're not really supposed to say out loud.
Dude, you said it on the pod.
Yeah.
We have thousands of people here.
Yeah, but it's in a lot of prayers that people say out loud anyway. It's just,
yeah.
You're not really supposed to say the name of God, but
right.
It's more like a expression of the oneness of everything.
Yeah.
A nice thing to do. Yeah, you know, I mean, I think I like sound healing with structure. You know,
Mm.
I like to go to a sound healing where people are musically inclined.
Mm.
There's a huge. You didn't go to the one that this guy, I forget his name, something Tomasaro or something, has like 50 different gongs.
Oh,
It's
it's intense.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a real musician, so it's
Mm.
different than, you know, they do, a lot of people do sound healings and their people are just making random noises with things.
Mm.
And then there's some people who are obviously really doing a great job and they're really into it.
Yeah. Would you say like sound healing would be just as beneficial, like with earplugs in, like just the vibration on you, or do you think it has to like shoot into your ears?
I think it's a combination of both, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking, like, would you be able to take in the vibration still if you kind of, you know, had earplugs in or something?
Yeah, I mean, I think the earplugs would change it, you
Mm.
know. When you really think about it, like it's going into your ear and behind your ear is your brain, right? So
Yeah.
the way it travels into your body, if there's no restriction, it's going to be different than if there's a restriction.
Right. Yeah.
So, but musicians wear earplugs and things because they don't.
Yeah. Smart.
I always thought that was interesting to like play the guitar in front of an audience and have earplugs in, and like you could barely even hear what you're playing.
You could still hear it depending on, I guess, how you can't hear it like somebody who isn't wearing earplugs could hear it, but
Right.
yeah, I mean, so, yeah, some of the you kind of have to a certain degree, or else you're just going to keep, you know, progressively going more deaf each time.
Yeah, I can't even imagine pre-earplug rock
Yeah.
and roll music.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of these people are probably deaf.
Yeah, definitely. I heard this one story of like the sound guy in Oasis. You know Oasis,
Yeah.
the band. Like their first sound guy or whatever that was on the road with them. Like they noticed more their sound was getting louder and louder, and they're like, "What's up? What's going on with the sound?" And the dude by like the seventh concert was deaf. And that's why he just kept making it louder and louder.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he went clinically deaf and like or legally deaf and like within the course of the tour or something.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
Yeah, there's, you know, it's funny that that's a band that the singer had a lot of ego, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. He wanted to be the best.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting thing that people do, that the desire to be the best, the desire to be better than other people.
Yeah, and particularly in that band, his own brother, which is pretty crazy. That you know that the brothers are in. It's
No.
yeah, it's Liam and Noel Gallagher, and they
Okay, yeah.
yeah, like they just had started this got into this beef, and that was kind of the end of the band.
Wow.
But it's cool though. I always love that's such a cool thing to be in a band with like your brother. You know, that was always like a fantasy as a kid. Oh, me and my brother are gonna be in a band or something. It's always must be so cool to actually live that out, you know.
Yeah. Nice.
Even if it's for like a short time.
Unless, you know, obviously you're the Gallagher brothers.
Yeah, then it's done.
Go well.
No, at the end of the day.
But people like commercial music is like chosen, you know, oh, this is going to make us money, or
Sure.
you know, they're not choosing them for their like virtue.
Yeah, yeah. You have to pop up from like the underground. That's otherwise. Yeah, so much music is just very heavily produced, you know. But every once in a while, you'll be walking around a grocery store and you'll be like, "Ooh, this is a hit," some old whatever. They'll be playing like Genesis or something. You'd be like, "Oh shit, they were killing it."
Yeah, sometimes I feel bad when I go to the grocery store and like the playlist is just god awful.
Oh yeah,
there's all these young kids there and they look like they're upset. They don't look good.
Yeah. You ever been walking around the grocery store and they have like a heartbreak song going at the time where you're right around where you had your heart broken? you're like picking out freaking eggs, and you're just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Why do they have to have this song on?
I remember, during a difficult time when I went through a breakup, I was trying to date again, and I was walking up this long flight of stairs, and as I got to the top, it was like our song, the song of the
Of course,
that broke up with me. And I'm about to go in and sit down with this new person, and I'm upset.
That's like the universe right there, being like, you can't forget yet.
That connection was not meant to be. So obviously, maybe it was. I personally get a lot of those synchronicities. Like I always think that I would be a really great like psychic medium, but I don't want to dabble in that world because I know that there's actual danger in that world. Like being a psychic medium is a dangerous thing.
Wow.
You will be under psychic attack all the time. And most people who do that type of work are under psychic attack, and they haven't had enough. They haven't developed the amount of wisdom needed to know when they're under psychic attack and to know how to deal with it. So then they become very mentally ill. That's a real shame that happens, but it does.
Wow. So you're saying because they have to be open all the time, they're going to just inevitably have to deal with that?
Well, I don't think they have to be open all the time. Some people do it too much because it becomes like their identity, and or they don't know how to not be open to whatever they're picking up on.
Sure.
And these are, you don't really know what's on the other side of that. You don't really know what type of entities are coming through you, what kind of attachments you have to them, or what their intentions are. Some of these spirits are demonic.
Sure.
You have no idea what's going on. I mean, people seem to be very naive, as if spirits are always telling them the truth. Do humans always tell the truth? No. So why would spirits always tell the truth?
Right.
If anything, they may lie even more.
Yeah.
And be mischievous. So, anything that I do, I want it to have value for somebody. So, like, if I've brought people into the astral realm to speak to their relatives who have died, like a father or something like that. I've done that through hypnotherapy. But I wouldn't want to channel the father through me.
Jeez, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be intense.
Right, but that's what mediumship would be.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to do that.
Yeah.
There's like an element of control in being the medium, because it's like, the information comes through me. So I get to dictate what's said and what's not said, and it's coming through whatever distortions I'm in.
Yeah.
Instead of letting that person have the experience.
Yeah, it's scary. Like, imagine it's one of your dead relatives talking through somebody. It's creepy.
Yeah, I've gone to mediums before, and it really wasn't anything creepy.
Right.
Yeah.
I have just like a painted image of my head of a dark room with candles, and all of a sudden they're like possessed. Like, I have like a whole different like picture in my head going on than probably you experienced.
Like a seance.
Sure. Yeah.
No, it's more like a girl with a pad.
Yeah. Right. Right.
In a regular place like this.
Right.
But when I know like a relative or something is trying to warn me of something, I'll get like muscle spasm. Like you'll feel like a twitch.
Okay.
That's usually, and a medium told me that, so that's the only reason why I know. But
that's cool.
Mentally and emotionally, I could sense that after knowing that. Like, oh, okay. It'll be like at an opportune time where I need some information, and then I'll get like a confirmation, some type of twitching or something like that. So then you could bring it a little bit further and develop it more. where then you're having actual communication with ancestors or somebody else.
I had my eyelid the other day. I was like driving and my eyelid started twitching and it was just suspicious. I was like, what is like, this is so obvious and it's weird.
Well,
And
sometimes it could be because you're tired.
I don't think I was tired. I like looked in the like mirror to see if I could see it twitching, and I could actually see it twitching. And it was just like bizarre because it just felt like it's a movement that I could never do like on my own.
Yeah, those involuntary movements.
Yeah, I don't know, just a random thing.
Yeah, I mean the eye twitching is be so many different things.
Yeah,
It could be stress. It could be dehydration.
sure.
It could be lack of sleep. But and not all muscle spasms mean some spirit is coming through you.
Yeah, it felt like it though. Like weirdly, I was actually like, this feels like there's something going on. Like it felt a little bit like there was something more to it.
Yeah, maybe like something was trying to communicate to you.
Yeah,
You know, it's highly possible.
I just tried to feel into it. You know, I was just like, okay, what am I feeling at this time that I'm experiencing this like spasm? You know,
That's a good practice to have when you feel some bodily discomfort or some unusual body sensation. It's always good to check in and be like, I wonder why I'm experiencing this right now.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are online posting things all day about politics. And for a while, I had to look at it like I was watching a car accident.
Totally.
And recently I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
Why are you getting caught up in this 3D bullshit?
Yeah. It's endless, yeah.
It's endless. And it's also like, okay, whatever side you're on, it doesn't really matter. Why are you fighting and arguing with people who you're supposed to be friends with?
Yeah, we're all fellow Americans. Yeah. You know?
Or random people on the internet, like getting into an actual blowout fight on the internet over your political views. Some people think this is a good thing.
Well, people
really believe in this.
Well, it's a huge just misdirection of energy, you know?
Yeah.
You could be like, oh my God, like if you really were to channel energy in a different direction, like all you have is your immediate circle, you know? You're shooting your energy out to somebody in freaking Kansas who's upset. Like, what are you gonna do?
I know, you know? It's crazy. It's such wasted energy.
Totally. Totally.
And people get so caught up in it and so emotional over it. And it's just to like one up your friends. Like what is the purpose of putting it on your story on Instagram when the people seeing your story are people who are either friends with you or they appreciate you for whatever reason?
Yeah.
Why would somebody want to shove their political views down everybody's throat?
Ego. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, I mean, it's ego, but it's also righteousness.
Sure.
Like my opinion is right, yours is wrong, so I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna beat my opinion into your head. Like it's almost like abuse. It's like, you know, certain people doing it all day and all night. Like,
yeah,
what is that?
I'd say it's just it's addiction. That's at least what rings true to me. Like it's addiction. You're engaging. You're getting this certain like chemical workup for it, and then when you withdraw from it, you're like now you feel weird. You're like I want to jump back in there. Like it gives me endorphins. You know. So yeah, people need to find healthier ways to channel these things. You know, besides jumping on in debates that are like don't even have any outcome. They don't even have an outcome.
I mean, I used to have this guy who would come into the office like angry about politics every week, and he had serious gastrointestinal issues, and he's like, none of the doctors can figure it out. And I'm like, you really have to work on your anger.
Mm,
Like being angry at this stuff all day. He actually took it well, but he didn't do anything about it.
mm,
But that will, long term anger and frustration like that, it changes your brain chemistry.
wow.
It erodes your stomach. Like your stomach is literally eroding from it, from all of the heat built up inside of your stomach.
Wow.
Because the stomach is on the other end of your mouth when you think about it.
Yeah,
You know, it's everything that
connected.
you say is rooted in the stomach. It's coming up through all of this and out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good way. Yeah. That's an interesting way to think about it.
It
I
is.
feel like a lot of people don't examine that.
A lot of people don't know that, okay, your nose is on the opposite side of your nose is on your lungs are on the opposite side of your nose.
Right.
Your nose is attached to your lungs. That's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm shot right now.
No, that's cool.
But your nose is attached to your lungs. I said that to somebody, and they were like, "I never really thought about that."
Yeah, they're one and the same.
Isn't that interesting? How did you not think about it?
Right. Well, we just don't see it. We weren't trained to see it like that. But once that like veil is lifted and that information is given to you, now you can start to see it like that.
I just find it interesting how little information people have on their own body and how it works,
Yeah.
and how they depend on doctors or surgeons. Obviously, you have to depend on somebody like that if you need that. But people take such little responsibility for knowing their own body.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I remember like having a friend who was a lawyer, and he thought he was so smart, but he didn't know anything about the human body and bodily functions and health. Nothing. Zero.
Right. Yeah.
So how could you be so smart if, okay, you know all of this stuff in a legal book, but you don't even know the body you're walking around in? You don't
Yeah.
even know like what you are.
Yeah.
That's weird to me. Know what you are.
Right.
At least know something.
Yeah. It's just all unconscious. Their body's just unconscious.
Yeah. So then when something goes wrong, it can be the most minor thing, and they completely fall apart, and paranoia just takes over.
Sure. Yeah. We all know a fat lawyer somewhere.
Yeah. Well, people will say, I don't have time to learn about the body, but
Yeah.
yet we have so much time.
Sure.
If you ever wake up in the middle of the night, turn on a video about the body. Turn on a video about the nervous system,
Sure.
the cardiovascular system. Is it going to be as fun as watching, I don't know, the Joe Rogan podcast? Probably not, but it's informative.
Yeah.
I remember all of this when I went to acupuncture school. All of the students in those like anatomy and physiology classes in the beginner level,
Mm-hmm.
people were so fascinated by it.
Mm.
That beginner's mind is so ripe to learn. It's so like it craves the knowledge.
Yeah.
I know that not everybody wants that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can know about anything, know about your body. People complain about a lack of healthcare. Healthcare is a right. It's a human right. It can't be a human right because you can't force somebody else to be responsible for your health and for your life.
Sure. Yeah.
Just because they're getting paid. Obviously you don't want to go to a physician and the physician kills you. That's not good. We're not talking. We're not talking about that. But people have to be more responsible for themselves.
Yeah.
For their body, for their health, for their mental health.
Right.
We can't just keep passing the buck on to somebody else.
Yeah. That's the imbalance. That's the imbalance of healthcare, I suppose, these days.
Absolutely.
Everything just goes wrong, and then we're just like, I'll fix it, Well,
people used to depend on home remedies for most things. Now, somebody sneezes once and they're rushing to the doctor and getting a flu shot. Yeah. Or, some antibiotics or some type of steroid.
All right.
Without even attempting to let it go through your system and there's so much fear that comes from fear and not knowing the body.
Mm.
Like even when I had COVID, I'm like, I'll probably be sick for 3 days.
Mm.
And I took herbs and did acupuncture on myself, and took hot showers and did like normal things to get better, and I got better within 3 days.
Yeah.
Not everybody is as healthy as me. Get it? That's more of a reason to know the body. People start knowing the body when their body is so destroyed, and then their whole life is going to doctors. They'll tell you all about their doctor's appointments and all of the things that are wrong with them.
Mm. Right.
But they don't ever tell you how their body functions, or maybe they don't really think the two are connected. They just think a disease comes out of nowhere, and then there's nothing you could do about it except for take medicine for this disease.
Right.
Yeah, I find that to be very interesting.
Yeah, we gotta freaking do preventative, healthcare. We gotta like prepare before the sickness hits,
Yeah, I mean, everybody should learn the basics.
Yeah.
Have like if you don't want to catch a cold or the flu, have a lot of garlic and onions in your diet.
Yeah.
In the fall.
Right.
Get ready for the winter.
Totally.
Make sure you wear scarves around your neck. Don't go out in the cold and in the wind without a jacket. Don't subject yourself to harsh elements when you're tired and your immune system is weak.
Unless you're a bad motherfucker like Wim Hof.
Right. But I don't think he is tired and depleted when he's out there doing those things.
Yeah.
He goes out in the cold when he's like at his peak performance.
Right. Yeah.
And that just takes it to another level.
Yeah.
He's not like recovering from pneumonia and going out there and doing Wim Hof breathing in Alaska.
Sure. We also don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's impervious. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I think he's a very healthy person.
Yeah.
I don't think he struggles the way most people do.
Right.
Health is a big part of my life. I could be healthier. I could eat better.
Mm.
I indulge just like anybody else.
Yeah. But
I always bring myself back. There's a refrigerator right there filled with chicken and salmon.
Chicken King.
Yeah, I'm ready to have a strict regiment of mostly protein and cooking my own food.
Yeah.
And you really don't really need much.
Mm-hmm. What do you make with the chicken and salmon? It's just that, or do you throw like broccoli in there, or what?
I don't have vegetables with it, but I use butter.
Yeah.
Grass-fed butter. I use different spices, sometimes lemon.
Yeah.
Dill, garlic, onions. I bought a few different types of spices, like blends of spices, things like that. Usually I like something a little spicy. So
yeah. So you're just eating chicken. Like I always feel like if I'm gonna eat chicken, I need like something else next to it. Yeah. For some reason.
You don't.
Right.
Is it nice to have something else? Sure.
Like potatoes or something.
Yeah, I mean that's like mostly starch.
Yeah.
And some people can eat whatever they want. Some people can't.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to lose weight or be very trim, all protein is probably the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're somebody with a slow metabolism.
Right.
I think I have a very slow metabolism.
Okay.
My genes, my genetics.
I don't think you'd be this skinny if you had a, like, maybe it's slow, but not like that slow.
Yeah, I mean,
you'd be flabbing up everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some people have a very, very slow metabolism.
Yeah.
But compared to my wife's, mine is slow.
Mm. So. Yeah. Is there a way to speed up the metabolism?
Well, definitely eating anti-calorie foods like celery and cucumber.
Right, because that stuff almost makes you like more hungry.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, it's cooling too, so it like drops your body temperature, and now your body has to burn calories to keep you warm.
Oh, okay. Right.
Green tea.
Yeah.
Green tea is cooling.
Yeah. That's why you always tell me every day, don't stop eating pizza, that damp heat.
Yeah.
I'm like a damp heat machine.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it's not the best,
yeah.
you know. Because what happens is you build up this tolerance for it, and then it seems normal.
Yeah.
But like there's this underlying pathology that's kind of
Mm.
formating under all of that.
Okay. Underlying pathology.
Yeah, I mean, like pathology in Chinese medicine and disease are similar but different. You know, like pathology is a pattern that could be corrected.
Yeah.
We just look at the body as if it's out of balance. We don't necessarily look at it like you have this terrible disease, but we also do look at things that are disease.
Yeah.
We don't throw disease out the window.
Right. Right. That's definitely a good point, at least with me, because I eat pizza like every few days at least, if not every day, and it's become just like a normal thing.
Right.
And I could see, like, you know, there was that point where there was almost like a drop off of like, this is normal for me now. Yeah. This wasn't maybe normal for me like 4 years ago, but how did I get to this point where it's just normal now? Like,
yeah, I mean, well, we get lazy. You know, how easy is it to go into the pizza place and you have hot, delicious pizza in 5 minutes?
Pretty easy, yeah.
There's really no waiting.
Yeah.
It's great, but you know, the people, like, I sat in the pizza place and watched people come in and watched what they would order.
Mm-hmm.
And pizza is not good for you. I mean, it gives you gut permeability because of the gluten.
Yeah.
And you're not really supposed to eat hot cheese. You're supposed to have cheese cold. So it is like a damp heat, and it's very hard to digest. And the people that were coming in, they all had massive guts.
Oh yeah, party time.
Yeah, massive guts. And I bought one slice of pizza that did have chicken on it, and it was good. But people were getting like 2 to 3 slices.
Yeah.
And there was this one guy who comes in, he has this massive belly. I mean, it's like protruding out to here. And he had ordered something over the phone, like a whole meal. And then he goes, you know what? Give me those 2 slices over there. Why not? Why not? And I'm like thinking to myself, like, you know why not? You know exactly why not. But this is how people are, you know.
Why don't you ask your coronary artery? Why not?
Exactly. Like why not ask your intestines that are, you know, an extra mile long?
I was laughing about that for like 2 days.
Yeah.
When you told me that story. Was that what you said? The coronary artery? Why don't you ask your coronary artery? Why not?
Well, I said that in my head. I would never
say
that
to No, of course not. If you said that to him, that would be, I'd pay you to say that to him. That would be so funny.
He would probably get very angry.
Yeah.
This is how people behave with food.
Totally.
I don't know how we got into that. But yeah, because everybody wants to be healthy, but people don't want to change their habits. And then they blame the healthcare system. Now, am I like a big fan of the healthcare system? No. But how many people do you hear complaining about doctors, complaining about medicine, complaining about how there's no holistic options, but yet they're eating fast food. They're getting medication whenever they get sick. They don't exercise. Their life is filled with stress. They drink tons of alcohol. They smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, you don't want anything holistic.
Right.
Just be honest about it. You don't care about your health. And your attitude is, if something breaks, hopefully someone will fix it or I'll die.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, to sit back and be like, oh, there's no holistic option is crazy, because there's holistic options everywhere.
Right.
It takes work.
Yeah, that's a specific type of person, and I feel like that is the majority where we are right now.
Yeah.
I guess being around a lot of like yogis, being in yoga studios a lot, I definitely see like the opposite, but I'm just seeing like the glamorous, because these people who go to yoga care. like
Some
immensely.
of them, some of them still like heat food up in the microwave.
Sure, yeah.
Eat processed foods and they don't know the difference.
Sure.
Some
Some of them, yeah. But I'd agree with you that a majority of people definitely just rely on, when they get sick, something else is going to make them better.
Yeah.
As opposed to,
you know what? I'll take another Vicodin. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? I'll be fine.
Like, yeah, you're right. Why not?
Why not? My back hurts. I'll take 6 ibuprofen. Why not?
Why not, man?
But that why not is what's killing you.
What's the view of ibuprofen in Chinese medicine?
I mean, we don't use that's strictly Western medicine.
So it's like anti, like they aren't about that at all.
Not in traditional Chinese medicine because it didn't exist, but in China and Japan, there are people ibuprofen.
Yeah. Just wondering.
Yeah, I mean, they do Western medicine in China and Japan now, but Chinese medicine is an alternative to Western medicine, and sometimes it could work better, and sometimes you need both, and sometimes it's not going to be as effective as Western medicine.
Right.
But if you are someone who turns to Western medicine for everything, that is going to take a toll on your body. Because medication destroys your liver, your kidneys, and your brain. So,
wow.
Yeah, so eventually, take enough ibuprofen, it's going to cause liver damage. It's going to NSAIDs, NSAID, they destroy your stomach. The stomach lining erodes.
I forgot what I had, but they prescribed me a ton, like these heavy duty ibuprofens.
Yeah.
It did help whatever I had, and I needed to take it to get rid of what I had. I forgot what it was, but my stomach, I couldn't even eat food and like have it go to my stomach. I ate food and it was just out of me. My stomach was like non-existent. It was crazy.
Usually that causes constipation.
Maybe it wasn't ibuprofen. Maybe it was something else. But
doxycycline.
Whatever it was just I could tell like my stomach health was just out the window. Like after I took this stuff, and it cured one part of me and made me ill in another part of me. That's kind of like, I guess, a good summation of Western medicine in a way. It helps when. That's why you hear those ads on TV where it's like, is the mic dead?
I don't know.
You have those ads on TV where it's like, it'll cure your depression, and at the end there's like the really fast talking and suicidal thoughts that at the end of the commercial, that type of thing.
Oh yeah, these drugs all have massive side effects.
Yeah, they'll read off like a book of all the bad shit it's gonna do to you, and it's wild,
Yeah, I mean, people they need to know the consequences. Or maybe this mic did die.
Switching out mics.
Yeah, I think that one died. Super lame. Hopefully it'll pick up my voice on your mic, but now we got it back.
Okay. How does mine still on?
Yours is on.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mine's kicking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the country is lost when it comes to healthcare. Totally lost. Everybody thinks that like if we all have Medicare, everything is going to be better. That's ridiculous. Like your insurance doesn't make you healthy. It's just a safety net. If you're out there eating all of the worst things in the world and not taking care of yourself, who cares what kind of insurance you have?
Right. Well, I feel like you're talking about these big illnesses that you're going to get from a lifetime of eating bad things, whereas like it is good for some things. Like some things,
good for an emergency.
You have a rash and you go in and they give you cream that's going to cure your rash in 3 days. Like that's good, Yeah. As opposed to having the rash for a month or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely natural things that could be as effective, but you have to go to the right people. You have to know.
Yeah.
You have to know where to go. But I'm just saying that like it's not what people are fighting for. Like people are fighting for better health. People are fighting for. They think that they don't have options, but we all have options. Some people go their entire life without having any health insurance, and they are very healthy. and they hope,
Mhm.
hopefully you don't end up in a hospital, but
Mm.
there used to be insurance policies that just covered hospitalization,
Mm.
but those don't even exist anymore. Now they want you to get they want you to go to the doctor because that helps them determine how healthy you are based off of your blood work, all of these statistics. And, does that really mean you're healthy? You could have all of these symptoms and have a wonderful blood test, but maybe you have migraines all the time, or maybe you have acid reflux all the time, or indigestion, or insomnia, or uncontrollable anxiety, but your blood work is normal,
Yeah.
right? So, how do you determine health? How do you determine when to go to the doctor, when not to go to the doctor? Nobody's really educated on this.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as you start to sneeze, that doesn't mean you go to the doctor and get antibiotics, but a lot of people do. Like, I had someone tell me, "Oh, my child has a fever. I can't come for my acupuncture appointment. I have to take them to the doctor." I remember being a kid and having a fever. We didn't go to the doctor. We were given like ice or something to reduce the fever, or maybe bed rest or chicken soup.
Yeah.
We weren't taken to the doctor for antibiotics right away.
Mm.
Now sometimes you need antibiotics right away. So how do you know? There has to be a better system where, let's say you go to urgent care. If you really don't need antibiotics, they shouldn't prescribe them, but
Mhm.
usually they prescribe them anyway.
Mm.
That's a big problem.
Yeah, that's a problem.
They can't tell you go home and have chicken soup because they need like this empirical evidence that chicken soup is going to cure the flu. And there is empirical evidence for it, but Western medicine doesn't look at it that way. They don't look at food as medicine, as therapy. They ignore it
Yeah, that's sad.
because they can't monetize it, really.
All right.
It sucks. But
Well, I guess that's what's good about the internet, though, too, is you could look it up and,
that's good too, but it's also, that has pros and cons too, because then a lot of people think they're their own doctor.
Yeah.
Now, you should empower yourself to be your own doctor, but know your limits.
Yeah.
Know where your knowledge is limited.
Mm.
Know when it's time to actually get help. So, like, I had this terrible upper respiratory infection, and I started treating it with herbs and doing acupuncture. And a couple of days went by, and I'm like, it really isn't getting any better at all.
Mm.
I was in terrible pain. And it turned out that I had parainfluenza virus 2, which is croup. It's like a children's respiratory infection, but it's dangerous, and it was painful and terrible.
Yeah.
So I had to go and get antibiotics because I had to know my limit.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't working. I should go and get the help that I really need.
Yeah.
We all need to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
That is what will make America healthy again. Learn when it's time to go to the doctor, when it's not. How to use food as therapy,
Yeah.
as medicine.
Totally.
And also when you're having like a mental health episode, how to gain control over your emotions.
Yeah.
In a healthy way. Now I notice a lot of people on the internet, on social media, talking about how important it is to feel all of your emotions. That's something very big in the spiritual community. You have to feel your emotions, feel them all the way through. That's absolutely true.
Mm.
But there's also times when you need to control your emotions.
Mm.
It's not only about feeling all of your emotions and being authentic. There are times where it's necessary to control yourself and to control your emotions so you don't do more harm.
Mm.
Like, your erratic and insane emotional response to something could get you into trouble.
Yeah.
So you got to reel yourself back in. And a lot of people, I don't know, like, people have gone off the deep end. I mean, look at what happened with Kanye West on social media. He went insane, right?
Yeah.
How many times has this man gone insane online and really made a fool out of himself?
Many over the past several years.
And the last one was the craziest.
Yeah, with his website thing, that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
So nobody's educating him on how to handle that.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
just come to an endless talk therapy session where you talk about what went wrong in your life forever and take this medication. That's not really an effective form of therapy.
Mm-hmm.
People have to learn mindfulness. They have to learn self-control. They have to learn discernment. They have to learn how to have integrity. They have to learn how to have an open heart. They have to learn how to hold space for others and for themselves.
Yeah.
But people aren't being taught this stuff.
No, it's just figure it out as you go, hopefully.
Yeah, and don't kill anyone, and don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
Don't break anything.
Yeah.
I try to educate as many people as I could with the amount of knowledge that I have.
Yeah.
And people need to do that. It's not just about monetizing things and making everything into a business. Now on Long Island, everybody will so many people who are spiritual, and that's wonderful to whatever degree that is. A lot of it is just for the self. A lot of people are becoming spiritual just for their self, so they could reduce their anxiety or be more comfortable. But not a lot of people are doing spirituality to genuinely help other people. Genuinely. Not for the ego,
Sure.
but genuinely to be there for someone else. That's rare, actually.
Yeah.
Like you were talking about that before, that very few people can legitimately hold space for you for however long is needed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even kidding. 2 people in my whole life, you being one of them, have actually been able to say to me, like, I'm here for you and legitimately will talk to you about the issue until it feels better, whether that be like days, weeks, months, years. A lot of people will just say, I'm here for you, man, like if you ever want to talk. And then you might go to them to talk, and it's like they're there for like a few messages.
Yeah,
they're not there to.
Or they will literally say to you, bro, you're still thinking about that?
Sure, yeah.
Why haven't you moved on? And then they'll make you into like the villain.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they don't want you to disturb their energy.
Yeah. So it's rare, man. I feel like it's angelic when somebody is really there. Like it's beyond holding space to me. It's just a total blessing, an obvious blessing when you just have somebody who's ready to talk it through until you work it out.
Yeah, and that's what like a highly developed person can hold space for however long is needed.
Yeah.
They don't get mad. They don't say you're taking too much of my energy, unless that person's distortion is taking too much energy from people.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes people come in and they're energy vampires and they just want attention and they don't want to get better.
Sure.
So again, as the practitioner, I have to use discernment and be like, this person doesn't want to get better. They just want to take my energy. So how am I going to respond, right? You don't want to react and get upset, but you want to respond appropriately. Usually my response is, I'll say very little and I'll see if they can actually see themselves doing what they're doing. If they could gain some kind of self-awareness and say, oh, wow, maybe I'm too much right now.
Yeah, man. It's honestly, it brings a tear to my eye when I just think about, the people like you have been there for me just for like the long haul, like you really just down to talk things through because it's just so rare. It's legitimately so rare. Like it really is. And I remember times when I didn't have that and I had people around me who were there for maybe like a conversation or two, but like, they're not going to follow up with you. Like me and me, like we follow up with each other.
Right.
Or like, how'd that go yesterday?
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard for some people. They don't want to, they forget about it. They're done,
Well, people value material gain, their career, maybe their family to whatever degree they think they're caring for them, more than friendship, more than having, deep connections, deep, meaningful connections.
Sure.
That is something that is rare now, which
Yeah.
is sad.
It is very
Sad.
sad. It's really sad. It's a tragedy.
Because there could even be like people who they have a friend group, but like maybe all these friends do is make fun of each other.
Mm.
And then if somebody really does have a problem, everybody all of a sudden is like, oh, don't bring that here.
Right.
Don't
Yeah.
bring that to me.
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
Yeah. My goal is really, if somebody comes to me or brings something up that's been a problem for them, you know, my goal, and you know, it's based off of people like you, and is to be able to be there legitimately and be there almost to the point where it's weird. Like, you know what I mean? Like follow up, you know, like really follow up with them and
Yeah.
just be like, how are you doing about that? You know, and,
Yeah.
and that's really a big goal for me is to be present like that for people, even
Yeah,
when they didn't
people
even
are
expect it.
People are shocked by stuff like that.
Totally.
Like you said, even if it's weird, it is weird for a lot of people. People's parents aren't even like that.
Totally. Oh, definitely not. Yeah, definitely not.
They
Yeah.
don't follow up.
No. Some do, you know, it's 50-50, I guess, but
some do. There's some wonderful parents out there, of course, but
yeah.
you know, let's be real. Like, there's a lot of sickness out there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not the type of person that wants to, you know, okay, I'm a spiritualist, right? I'm a Kabbalah teacher. I do yoga, blah, blah, blah. But I know that the world, there's so much sickness in the world, you know, to be one of those people who is like only in love and light and like, I will bring light to where it's needed. Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that this world is just filled with joy. You know, that's toxic positivity.
Yeah.
So the world needs people who are going to really honor truth and honesty.
Yeah.
And be legitimately there for each other.
Yeah.
If we could do that, people will become healthier, actually.
Totally. Yeah.
Regardless of diet, because, okay, why do you have so much anxiety that you can't stop eating? Because you don't feel fulfilled, or you feel nervous, or you feel unsupported, or you feel like there's just nobody there who understands you.
Right.
So you're going to turn to the chocolate or the cupcakes or that's a form of self-harm.
Yeah.
Why would somebody self-harm? Because they don't feel important. They don't feel good enough. They don't feel valued. They feel depressed. They feel lonely. The lack of effective communication and strong relationships and true friendship, it's probably the biggest reason for people's addictions, their health issues, their anger issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, people don't just start out angry.
Sure.
They become angry over years of disappointment.
Yeah.
Or over years of abuse.
Yeah.
And then they're angry.
Yeah. And like you said about the energy vampire too, it's like, you know, you could tell when you're giving somebody that extra, that, you know, the love and energy and support that they need, you're continuously holding space for them and they don't really want to get better. Right. You know, like that's something that's, I guess it kind of becomes more obvious as you hold more space.
Yeah.
And I feel like it is important to like pull back in those situations in a way, because sometimes people have to kind of go through that aloneness of being like, why does even this like person who wants to hold space for me, why can't they even hold space for me, you know?
Yeah, if they realize that.
Right.
If they realize that it's being done with love and not to punish, because my goal is never to punish somebody. It's just that if you're an energy vampire, it's going to benefit you to realize that and to stop doing it. So how does somebody realize that without you either telling them or showing them? It's probably easier to show them than to just straight out tell them, because it's not going to be received well.
Yeah.
If I was like, hey, you're an energy vampire and I want you to stop, or it would benefit you to stop, they're not going to receive that well.
Probably not.
Yeah. No, who would receive that well?
Somebody who's very open and deeply introspective.
Yeah, right. They're not going to do that. So you have to show them. So when they keep, trying to get your attention like a little child, you could ignore it and just answer with the appropriate amount of energy and not go deep into their distortions with them.
Right. It's an important balance.
Yeah. But this is these are people who have lacked guidance. So in the beginning, you were talking about having a teacher, right? I mean, like listening to a teacher who, maybe they don't over explain things. It's just their vibration.
They don't need to. Yeah. They don't need to over-explain it.
Well, on the other hand, there are people who require a lot of explaining. They need someone who could explain life to them because they're afraid. So please just tell me how am I going to live, They need to know.
Sure.
So there's a need for all of it. There's a need for people who elevate themselves in such a way that they could just give you a hug or a tap on the shoulder and you feel better. And then there are people who their healing ability is talking to you and explaining things to you and guiding you through it and holding space for you. And then there are people who maybe just play music, or maybe they just do acupuncture or do a massage or give you an adjustment, and it's all service.
Yeah.
It's all useful.
Yeah, whenever I'm listening to like a satsang with Mooji, which is kind of like a more spiritual version of a lecture, and there's somebody who has like this big question that they're just kind of like what you're saying, like they need like all these things explained to them. Why did this happen to me? Why does this keep happening to me? And it's like you're listening to them speak to Mooji about it, who's like this, he's on another level, he's a just amazing teacher. And I'm just like, how do you not know, already know the answer just by like sitting in his presence and having him like, just say what he's already said in the past like hour.
Yeah.
Like, and I, in my head, when I hear those people, I'm just like, I don't know if you're ever going to get it. Like,
Well, they're hyper associated to their process.
Right.
So all their mind can think about is their process, their problems, and they can't see anything past that. And they're just looking for that problem to be solved. It's actually very sad.
Sure. Yeah.
Imagine like all you could think about is this one problem every day when you wake up until, one day, obviously there's got to be a solution or the person has to move on.
Yeah.
But some people aren't strong enough mentally and emotionally, like that breaks them.
Yeah.
So they're frantic and they're hyper associated to their pain and their problem, and they just want this guy Mooji to take it away.
Right.
Take it away, Mooji, please take it away.
Right.
There are or there were gurus who could just touch you and take that away.
Totally.
That would be a nice ability.
Yeah, I believe that it's there, and I guess it's just a good karma to run into somebody like that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's appropriate too. What if their karma is to learn the lesson through the pain that they're supposed to learn? What if taking it away is going to interfere with their destiny? We don't really know.
So yeah, it would have to be destined for that to be taken away.
Like they would know. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But people come to me and they want me to take away their problem.
All day. Yeah, I'm sure.
All day. And you have to kind of let go of your attachment to it. I want to help you, I do, but I'm not going to be attached to whether this works or not because I don't control that. So, whether it's hypnotherapy or acupuncture, I try my best to explain, like, hey, you're the one who's going to be doing the work here. Your body is, your nervous system is going to be doing the work. Your immune system is going to be doing the work. The acupuncture needles are going to stimulate that. But your body is the one that's going to do the healing. So sometimes people like that. Some people don't like that. Some people are like, well, I don't want to be responsible for the healing. I don't trust my body. I don't believe in my body. But, when you are mindful of somebody's free will and their destiny, you don't know what the consequences could be by interfering with that. So it's you really have to give it to them.
Mm.
That's why I do like hypnotherapy, and I do like acupuncture in a way where, I'm creating the environment for healing to happen,
Yeah.
and whatever's supposed to come through that person comes through.
Yeah. Yeah. Creating the environment for them to explore and eventually wander into their own sort of healing, find their own healing in that environment.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So did you have anything else?
How long did we go? We went like an hour. I think we're at an hour and a half almost.
Yeah.
No, man, I'm really grateful to be here. Episode 9, super grateful. Just because we've had so many good conversations already, so it's been very blessed.
Unfortunately, our guest couldn't make it this week because there was a situation with a fire alarm. So we'll have her on soon.
Yeah.
It's actually my wife.
A situation with the fire alarm.
Yeah. The fire department had to come. So
yeah.
But everything is okay. But we did it. We pulled it off without any preparation at all, of course.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Well,
cool.
We did it.